Μ' ακούς?
Τώρα σ' ακούω.
Ναι. Τα παιδιά δεν τα ακούω, ούτε το Jace, ούτε ο Jace είναι και muted. Εσύ. Savannah, θες να πεις εσύ κάτι? Savannah, do you want to say something if we can hear you?
Oh, you can't hear me?
You have a massive echo.
Yeah.
But we can hear you now. I don't know where Ben is. He was supposed to be here. James had something came up, so maybe he will join, maybe he will not. Depends on what happens. But you have us here, Chap and me, so take advantage of us. Now we cannot hear you again, Savannah. No. Check from where your mic is giving to be like your external microphones, or if you have something like ISO you capture or something.
That's
Okay.
okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. Hi, my name is Anna, and today we have Roadrunner and Chap with us on the Hack the Box Tampa Meetup. We also have Chase as well.
Hey, I'm Chase. It's going to be a great meetup.
And we're also going to be having Ben come in. He's coming in just a few minutes behind. And we're going to be doing Q&A questions and walking through some an Active Directory attack that Ben put together for you guys. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, we can go ahead and get started.
Okay. Harry, you go first. Chap.
Hi, I'm Chap. My name is Harry, and I'm one of the founders of Hack the Box, currently the CEO.
Okay, very short description, but that says it all. Yes, I'm Soti, aka Roadrunner. I'm the community manager of Hack the Box, and I met Chase and Savannah 1 year ago. Not 1 year ago today, 1 year and one, because we were planning. Yes, we were planning this 1 year ago, and we are very happy to be here today and to grow this community so much. And now you, Ben.
Everyone, I'm Ben, or I guess better known as Mr. Ben. I met Savannah and Chase, I don't know when it was, maybe a year and a half ago when they were doing the root at UT at the University of Tampa. I helped out doing some trainings there and some different talks. We were really impressed with them, getting into the industry and all the stuff they're doing for the local community. So chatted with Savannah in the beginning about linking up with Soki and starting up this meetup. I work as the training lead for Hack the Box, so I'm in charge of developing any of our training offerings, which are kind of outside of the traditional Hack the Box platform, which is more focused on labs and machines, and you guys will see more of that in the coming weeks and months.
And the offshore lab, of course, that is so the notorious one.
Yeah, I made offshore. Originally, it was just a CTF that we did in Greece, and then Harris said, hey, why don't we try out making actual full lab? So we converted over to the Pro Lab, and I guess it was the second Pro Lab after Rasta Labs, but it's seen some success. So if you haven't checked it out, I'd recommend it, especially if you're interested in Active Directory exploitation.
Cool, perfect.
Do you guys want to go ahead and move into the Q&A questions?
We are ready for it.
Okay. All right, so I guess who wants to go first for the first question?
Chap, do you want to go?
Sure. How did I get started in cybersecurity? This goes a long way back. I started at the age of 14, 15, and that's like 20 years ago. So it was more of a hobby back then. It wasn't a profession. I just wanted to see how things work behind what you see on your screen, actually. It was very fun, although I couldn't follow that as a profession at the time and as I grew up, so I pivoted to systems engineering and software engineering. And around 2015, I wanted to pivot back to security in a professional level since it was becoming a hot topic. And I did my OSCP, of course, first. And then I wanted to keep practicing and playing, hacking stuff without causing any damage, of course. I found ValHub that didn't really satisfy my needs because I had to, download the VM. If I didn't like it, I have to spend more time downloading another one. And then I decided to create Hack the Box just because I figured that more people might have the same need as me. And that's my long story short.
Okay.
Awesome.
Do you want to go, Ben, or should I?
Yeah, I can go. So when I graduated college, I guess it was like 2008 when economy wasn't doing too good. I got a job, just whatever I could out of college, and I was doing a mix of help desk and stuff like calling under people's desks and plugging in UPS devices and swapping out RAM to those computers, troubleshooting VoIP phones and all that, and just really didn't do it for me. But there wasn't really much else to do at the time because things weren't going too well, obviously, the economy. Eventually, they fired their internal InfoSec guy, and they just asked me if I wanted to start doing that, learning it. Sent me to a ton of trainings. I took over a lot of the information security for just the small company internal, doing that. From there, I moved on. I started doing more on the audit side. So I did a lot of technical IT audit, got into vulnerability management, pen testing, web app testing, all that. I just kept kind of bouncing from company to company, getting more advanced skill set, focusing. I spent a year at one company doing exclusively just web app pen testing, and I got kind of tired of it because after a while you just start seeing the same apps over and over and over when you're in house. So I started trying to expand my skills more, and I found VulnHub. I worked through a lot of that. I did OSCP. Got more interested in the network side, moved over doing that. I guess 2017, I was working for a company. I was enjoying what I was doing, just doing mainly just network pen testing. And I think it was May of 2017. One of my friends told me, "Hey, check out this Hack the Box thing." So I sat there one night, and I think I logged on at like 8 p.m. did the invite code, and before I know it, it was 5 in the morning, and I had owned a bunch of machines. And back then we had there was a Slack channel in NetSec Focus, and I started bugging Harris about everything. And I think I was might have been the first community machine. So I wasn't part of Hack the Box at the time, but I submitted that machine, Kotarik.
Okay.
And then from there, I started building as many as I could. And during my pen test career, I've always been really, really interested in understanding what's going on the other side, so I could better explain when I'm on report calls or something, or if people are trying to implement the remediation. So in a lab environment, I've pretty much built every possible thing that I've ever uncovered in a pen test or a web app test. Pretty fascinating to see both sides. I think it makes you a better pen tester to be able to explain it from that angle, and when people have to do remediation, that you really understand it from both sides. So Hack the Box has done a lot of that for me, and a lot of my machines reflect things that I've seen in reports or in assessments. Same thing with Offshore Lab. It's probably 99% real stuff that I've actually seen out there.
The 0.111%, what is it? That is not real.
Well, I can't give spoilers, but there's
I'm kidding.
Little just side challenges that are they're just added in for fun, or a few things are kind of a stretch, but for the most part, it's as realistic as you can get.
Yes, and we named this lab as a penetration testing level 2 because it's all about AD hacking. So after Dante or some basic tracks that we released, Offshore is like the real deal. So.
And originally Offshore wasn't offshore. It was a CTF that we developed for in Greece. So there's a CTF every year in Athens, and Harris asked me, let's do a non-traditional CTF, not the Jeopardy style. Let's build an actual AD lab. So we did that. People liked it. Came back. We went back and forth on. It didn't have a name at the time. And then I just started thinking, well, let's do something around a theme of, kind of money laundering or like breaking into bank type thing. And Harris actually gave the idea of offshore. So we landed on that. And now I'm here doing training. I still try to, keep my skills sharp, occasionally doing a pen test here and there, because I feel like if you're building training, if you're building machines in labs, you should be still out there in the field learning, because, if your skills get stale, then how can you train people? So.
Thank you, Ben.
Okay, and now it's me. I started, I was studying computer science, and I was about to become a programmer. And then we had some courses about cybersecurity, and they showcased some tools, and I was like, okay, this is the real deal. And after that, I took more courses at my university, and I was like, okay, I love it. And then is when Hack the Box came out, and it was like one night texting one person the other, check it out, did you show the platform, check it out. And before that, we were gathering to my dad's office in order, to play just Subset, Hub, or CTS every Saturday and Sunday in order to practice. And then Hack the Box came out, and we were like on it. We didn't want anything else. And this is what it helped me to get also my first job, my Hack the Box profile, and solving machines, understanding things from there. And then I started as a penetration tester. And then Chap told me, and Azik and Cobb, do you want to join the team as community manager? And I said, my dream came true. I'm in Hack the Box, the best place ever. So that's my long story short. And this is how I came here. And I'm very happy and blessed.
Thank you, Satira. All right, the next question is, I guess you guys kind of already answered all of this. How did you get started with Hack the Box?
We can do something else. How did you start with Hack the Box, Savannah?
So actually, whenever I switched my major from marketing to cybersecurity, Chase and I were looking at Hack the Box, I think 2017 too, and we literally had zero idea how to do any of it. We're pinging was the best thing we got at that point, to do anything. But then looking at walkthroughs online to kind of get a better idea what we need to do to kind of go through the machines. And then as we took more classes at UT, they kind of gave us a foundation of how to navigate through the machines as well. So I thought that helped a lot.
Yeah, while we were at UT, we were doing Hack the Box in class instead of paying attention to the ethical hacking classes and stuff. We were just doing Hack the Box, and a lot of times it went hand in hand with what we were learning. So it was actually a great experience.
Yes. Well, in a disclaimer, we do not encourage kids to drop school and play Hack the Box instead. We love it, but stay in school, do your thing, and play Hack the Box. It is there 24/7, 365. We make sure about it. So it is not our purpose. We have a university section also, but use it in its own time. Okay.
I think it's a nice compliment for people that are in university for IT or IT security, because I've done 3 or 4 different schools in the Tampa area, different talks and stuff for cybersecurity clubs, and I've noticed that there's a big skills gap in between what they're teaching you in the school and what you can gain from Hack the Box. So I think that it's really difficult to do a 4-year degree, come out with an IT degree, and just go become a pen tester. But I feel stuff like Hack the Box, if you're doing that at the same time, you can come out with a pretty decent skill set.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel a lot of people that don't, understand a lot of the stuff that is created in Hack the Box, stuff like that. Say faculty or at schools or anything, they get scared about it, but it's more so if you're learning, because this stuff is in the real world. So.
Now with, to have to download something, it is easier than ever. You just download a VPN, so any teacher or professor doesn't have to worry. And the kids can play anything, and we all can have fun, or we can play Battlegrounds in class, or a nice message we give to the people here. But yes, everything is, it's pretty gamified. That's why students and professors like it, Hack the Box, because it's a gamified hacking. Come on, it's very nice.
Yeah. All right, we can move on to the next question.
So the next question is, what was the key thing you learned from working with Hack the Box? And I guess we'll go to Roadrunner first.
Okay, perfect. I'm sure Chap is waiting for me to answer this. Well, I believe it's patience, which I have zero, and I'm always very anxious, and being more patient and wait for things to turn around, and like to take one step at a time, because we have a lot of things to manage, and we need to think more clearly, and we need to manage things better. So this is the major thing that I learned from Hack the Box. The first thing is to have more patience and try to manage one step at a time, everything. And the other thing is how the global community of hacking is. Because like when you are in one country, in one area, everyone is like, yes, no, he's the best, oh, no, that is the best, and everyone is fighting with each other. And then you go and Hack the Box, and I meet hackers and researchers from all over the world, and I'm trying to understand, like, there's no person that is the best. Always there's something better than you, and always is something less skilled. So never quit, never stop, have patience, as I said before, and try to continue and follow your passion. So this is what Hack the Box always taught me, to follow my passion.
Move on to chat.
Yeah, well, a key thing I learned is how big this community is, first of all. When I first started, I was under the impression that, okay, we get 10,000 members and this is it. I mean, how many people, like-minded people might exist in the world? While this is not the case, the community is huge, and it keeps growing, which is amazing. And the other thing I learned is pretty similar to what Roadrunner said. So when I started and I created Hack the Box, and I also created the first boxes, I believe that I'm a very skilled hacker, you know, I'm one of the best. And this is so not true. I mean, one thing I learned from Hack the Box is how little knowledge I still have on the subject, and how some people never stop to amaze me. I mean, when you think that something is impossible, there comes this guy that just solves it in 5 minutes and makes you feel like the stupidest person in the world. That might do.
Politely spoken.
I tried to be very polite. I didn't use any bad words.
I know. I'm proud of you. And Ben?
For me, I mean, I think learning from Hack the Box has humbled me a lot on, you know, my knowledge. I feel, you know, I used to think I knew a ton about a lot of subjects, and just the team we have here, and, you know, we keep bringing on more and more talent. And I mean, some people just absolutely amaze me on a daily basis on just how they understand things, or just the whole hacker mindset. And even the community has been amazing to me. You know, since in the beginning, we started out, and, you know, a machine that we would put out as maybe an easy wouldn't even last more than a minute on the platform now. So our easies are now maybe what it used to be, like a medium or a hard. And it continues to amaze me just how fast people are able to beat these machines, the way they think. Sometimes when they find unintended solutions, even, you know, 0 days in there because they're so persistent. And the other thing too is just, it's been amazing to watch, I think globally in the whole industry, how Hack the Box is starting to shift things for penetration testers. Because I'm noticing that the attacks that I was doing in, you know, 2016, 2017, that I thought were really cool and cutting edge, nowadays, if we put those in a machine, people just think those are, you know, basic.
Yes.
So I think we're really, really leveling up people's skill set for the people that were already in the industry, and now that the next generation of pen testers, red teamers, whoever that's coming up is going to have such a better base skill set than a lot of us had, I think, in the beginning. Just because of the machines we're creating internally, and because of all the amazing community submissions we get.
Cool.
So yes, I think that's it. We all learn to be more humble. I guess it's the final point.
Thank you. The next question that we have was, how long does it usually take to get started creating vulnerable machines? This is actually like a question that people ask a lot and people seem to be interested in. Red
Okay.
Runner?
Should I go? Well, I have not submitted whatsoever one machine to Hack the Box.
Okay.
So, of course, I have created, but not for Hack the Box. But it was very basic and some challenges for another CTF. And because, the one was not hard, it was some medium because it was some stuff in front with SQLi. And then inside you, and then some, like it wasn't that hard because it was my first year at pen testing and some LFI. So, but it took me a lot because it was hard to make sure. I think it took me 2 weeks or maybe, because I knew what I wanted to. Maybe it looked like some boxes from Hack the Box, but it was like in order to make sure that is the intended path and you set up everything, because I started my career as a pen tester, so I wasn't like a developer before or something else. So it was very difficult for me to make something. But for challenges like some pickups with some keys inside and things like that, that were like 15 minutes. But it depends what you are making, I think, and your skill level. But I'm not sure. I'm sure not the person that should answer this. Chap, but you created the whole 21st machines of Hack the Box.
Did I create 20? Did I create that much?
10. There were 10.
Yeah, I think less than 20 for sure. But anyway, I think it greatly depends on your previous knowledge of systems and networks, etc. So my approach on creating a machine is I set it up like I would set up a production system, and then I reiterate over it, and I try to slip in a few vulnerabilities to make it, exploitable, easily exploitable anyway. So I don't think there is a specific time that, or an average time that it takes. It's all about prior experience. It gets faster the more you practice it. I think Swagstore, which was the latest Swagstore or Swagshop, I don't remember how we called it.
It was Swagshop.
Swagshop. I think I made this in 2 days.
But so, yes, you have the experience that you created the whole Hack the Box platform by yourself. So like, makes sense.
Okay, but again, it's all about prior experience. So, for example, if someone is trying to set up a vulnerable WordPress, for example, if this guy was a WordPress developer previously, he can chop it off in a few hours, probably. So it all depends on prior knowledge, for sure. I'm sure Ben can give a lot more feedback on this matter.
Yeah, so I mean, in the beginning, it was a lot easier to make machines because there were, we only had a few and a lot of stuff hadn't been done yet. Nowadays, it's getting harder and harder because it's, tons and tons of techniques have been done, so we have to be a lot more creative. Make sure that it's not something that's redone, that people are just going to say, well, this foothold's already been done or this privilege escalation's already been done. But in terms of, creating them, if you're going to make them for yourself, I would just say, go out there and just look at standing up, just a simple like LAMP stack, an Ubuntu box with Apache, MySQL, PHP, and build some kind of vulnerable web app, and then explore different kinds of privilege escalations you could put in. So from that standpoint, it doesn't take too long to just get the basics of building machines. But I'd say the curve now for being able to submit a machine and get it released on the platform is getting a lot higher, just because so many tactics have been done. And the cool thing is that every time that I kind of panic and think, well, crap, what are we going to release? How are we going to keep releasing machines every month? Then we get 10 new submissions, external or internal. The internal team comes up with something awesome. So there is a ton out there. It's just a matter of, I think, keeping up with, the latest and greatest techniques, and not just merely going on Exploit DB and trying to find something there, but trying to go on Twitter and look at people's bug bounty reports, or look for some kind of one-off attacks that aren't so common but are realistic, or even things that you see in your own assessments.
Cool. Thank you, Ben. And I know Chap had to leave a few minutes early, so I just wanted to tell you thank you for coming and joining us. So if you get stepped out, it's okay. I just want to let everyone know that you'll be stepping out just a few minutes early.
Thank you. I think I have 5 minutes more.
Chase, do you want to do the next question?
So, Ben kind of answered this for his side. If you had any tips for students interested in creating boxes, what would they be? Chap?
Be original. I mean, don't follow the same approach that you've seen somewhere. Try to be original, and you can be original only when you really understand the services and the mechanisms behind something. And this is what will help you really make an extraordinary box that will teach someone a lot of new stuff. So avoid repetition in general.
Very nice.
Do you guys think that in the future you would ever, I guess, release not like a step-by-step guide of like how to create a box, but just kind of a general direction for students to understand how they could create a guide and like submit it?
So there's a pin on our
There is a checklist that you should follow when creating a machine, like some things that you should hide, like in order to fit in an infrastructure also.
There is a pin post on
publish those checklists at some point along with guides, and this actually will be pretty soon, most probably.
Yeah, so we have testing scripts that we use internally. We have to do a lot of manual testing, obviously, on the boxes to make sure they're sound, but we're developing some automation around that. Probably going to release those scripts, so at least when somebody submits the machine, we want to make sure that it's, there's no unintended pass, that all these checks are looked for. So we're planning on hopefully releasing some of those scripts that'll help people that, find those issues. And I think that would help people when they start building, because if you build a Linux machine and you run our script against it and you find all kinds of issues with it, then just patching and fixing those flaws, you're going to get better and better and faster. Same thing with Windows, same thing with AD boxes. You're going to learn more of the things that we look for, the little gotchas that people might be able to do unintended, and also there's certain things on there that if you put it into a machine, it can not play nice with our infrastructure. So I would recommend going on the forum and looking at that pin post by, I think Mr. Hash made that. It was a general guide.
We have it on the platform also, like under like submission page, I think.
Okay. And then eventually we're probably going to put, like Harris said, some more guidance out around for community submissions, what we're looking for. Because we get a lot of good boxes, but we still get some duplicates or things, like it's not exciting for people anymore if we release a machine that has WordPress as a foothold, for example. So being original is the best thing I can say.
Cool. Thank you. Next question is, what has been your favorite part of working at Hack the Box?
Maybe Chab should start because he has 2 minutes. Go.
Very short. So my favorite part is that I get to work with so many amazing people, and I'm talking about the guys in Hack the Box.
And girls.
It feels like going out with friends for a beer. It doesn't feel like working. So it's amazing to wake up every morning and know that you are going to go and hang out with friends, and at the same time this is your actual work. And this is my favorite part. This is something that I haven't experienced before, and this is something that I also try to pass to everyone that joins Hack the Box, that this is a group of very good friends. It's not a company. And it's proven to be going well so far.
It's true.
Thank you. Satira, do you want to go next?
Well, yes. I think the same thing. The first thing, there are 2 things. The first one applies to that Hack the Box feels more like, I don't know, maybe Chapu should say goodbye.
I'm eager to wait to hear your answers. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So the first thing is like what you said, because it's not like a typical job that because I have been to workplaces and it's like, imagine like when your manager, your boss or someone else is coming in, it's not like, oh, I should look like working. It's like Chop is coming in on another person, like we're kissing, we're hugging before COVID, and we are like a family and we share stuff and it feels like a home. It feels like a home. It's not like we do not have other friends or family or everything, but Hack the Box feels like home. It's a very warm and a nice company, and all of us feel blessed to work in such an amazing environment with people that are there to help you, to hear your needs, to make you grow your skills, not only your company, or not to grow the company without caring about you. That will never happen. So it is amazing to be in such a caring and loving and enjoyable place, because we do have fun, we do party. And as Ben, he said, do you remember you said that when we were in London last year for the first official meetup, that you said sometimes I watch at this company, I'm like, how even get some things done at the end of the day because of all the fun we have. But it's true that how we get things done, it's beyond him, because we have fun. The other thing, it would be the favorite part is the community. The thing that the love that you get back from all those people you help for making the training accessible, to see people grow, to see you hear countries that maybe you have never heard of, because I'm not the best in geography, or you didn't live because it's small, and they see that they are passionate and they're trying and you are helping them, and they utilize your service in order, to sometimes to get away from a more small life with no dreams in order to chase their dream and maybe go somewhere else for cybersecurity. And they do that with Hack the Box. And we have 2 or 3 success stories like that. And I'm blessed to work for this company. And another thing, it is Hack the Box. Hack the Box is the best thing in the world. It's amazing. We loved it when we were players only. We loved it because of the thing that that's for the community, accessible everything to everyone, and we try to be there as much as possible, and that was from day one, and that's why I love so much this company, and since this day, for the work it does and provides to the others.
Thank you. That was awesome. Ben, did you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, just echoing what everyone else said, but it's a little cliche, but I mean, Hack the Box really does feel like a family. I mean, I worked at a lot of different companies before, and nothing compares. I mean, the environment that we have, we work hard, play hard. Every day, you have interesting conversations with people about technical stuff, just side chats about whatever in your life. I mean, even though we're all remote right now, and even though we're spread all across the world, and I don't know, probably about 10 or more countries, you feel like you really get to know your coworkers and everyone's really there, on the same mission. Also just the flexibility. I mean, everybody has a voice in the company, which is nice. Some companies, if you have ideas, they don't really want to listen to you, but a lot of our best stuff has come out from just employees having ideas and then, presenting it to Harris or Goblin or something, and they're saying, "Wait, great, let's run with it." And
yes.
It's also cool that you can have an idea and suddenly 2 weeks later that idea is implemented. Not waiting a year or longer. And so yeah.
Yes.
And the beer.
And the beer. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then Satira wanted to do Q&A with Chase and I, so I'm kind of scared. We have
okay. But you already know the answers because you know the questions. But okay. So the first thing is how did you start it, guys? With okay. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
So
and
yes.
Savannah, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I'll have to go. Thank you very much for having me. I hope I chat with you soon again. Have a fun and enjoy the rest of the online meetup. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, so the first thing that I said I want to ask you in order for the whole community to see, because that will stay on YouTube, how Hack the Box was beneficial to your day-to-day job, because I know, Savannah, you're a pen tester, but Chase is not. So, if possible, Chase, if you want to go first, although let's go first with good manners, but only for these questions, because in order to share your job, what you do for day-to-day, and how you utilize Hack the Box. And then, Savannah, you go.
Okay, so Hack the Box is beneficial. So, all right, let me start off. I'm a data engineer at ReliQuest. We're mainly a MSP and a SOC. We now have this new software called Gray Matter that brings all of your log sources into basically one pane of glass. So you can search and do hunts and things all in one window without having to go to 15 different log sources. Hack the Box really is beneficial to my job, even though mainly day to day I'm working on like pipelines and coding. Hack the Box has been beneficial because mainly the secure coding aspect of it. In quite a few of the boxes, you have to escalate privileges or get a foothold by modifying code or injecting code, and by seeing those things, it's made the code that I write on the day-to-day a lot more secure, because in the back of my mind I'm just going, oh god, I could get into this if it was on Hack the Box. And then also, like, a lot of the networking fundamentals, when I was first starting out, a lot of the networking fundamentals and how things work, a lot of that knowledge just came from hacking machines on Hack the Box, because you go down rabbit holes and have to learn like the full aspect of how things work in order to get to where you need to go. So learning that stuff really helped me just know fundamentals going into whatever job I went into in cybersecurity.
Okay, awesome. And thank you for this. It's actually very nice to hear. What about you, Savannah?
I would say it's extremely beneficial for my job. A lot of stuff that I like whenever I'm doing any boxes or any of the pro labs, just because, like Ben was saying, like everybody has to be creative now when they're creating any boxes. So every time I'm solving anything on Hack the Box, it's all new. And all the boxes, I would say, like now, a lot of them are like basically can replicate like a real world environment. And then you could take those tactics and techniques that you're using in there, and I could try them on, say, another lab of my own, and then eventually use it in a client environment, but obviously making sure that whatever I'm doing is being tested in the lab first after using it on Hack the Box. But just learning so many different tools that I probably wouldn't have known unless I was doing any of the boxes or pro labs on Hack the Box.
Awesome. That's very nice. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Okay, what is your main goal in your career, guys? Let's start with Savannah now.
Okay. I would say my main goal is to learn more technical skills, which is going to be an endless goal because there's always going to be new things coming out. I would eventually, I guess, want to have my own cybersecurity company. That'd be way later on in the future.
Okay.
So that those would be.
But not a training company.
No.
Okay, perfect. We can continue to be friends. Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be way far away though, because I'd want to make sure I have the knowledge to back up whatever. Chase.
So I can kind of echo what she said. My main goal in my career is pretty much gain as much knowledge as possible, going down whatever path I end up staying on. And in the end, I would also like to start my own firm or something like that, just to kind of expand that knowledge and keep keep going. There's so much room in the cybersecurity field where there's not enough companies to actually defend everything. So
Nice. Okay. And what is the most challenging for you? What has been the most challenging things for you till now in your hacking journey?
Well, I could say starting out, I was stuck on the box for a very long time. I could not figure it out, and then we had some other people help us try and figure it out, and they couldn't get it. But then, can't remember exactly what the vulnerability was, but we figured it out, and that took us like 3 or 4 months.
So much.
Throwing away at it, and when we
Was it like an insane box or a hard box?
No, it was. So keep in mind, this was when we were first like starting out.
Okay.
So we didn't really have like that much knowledge into hacking, but I think it was a medium box, I want to say, and I could get the initial foothold just fine, everything was good, but escalating privileges was just a pain.
Yes, that pain. No pain, no gain, though. But
no, we finally figured it out, and I think that's probably one of my best memories of Hack the Box, figuring that out.
Awesome. And what about you, Savannah?
I would say that the box Sauna was like one of my first Active Directory boxes on Hack the Box, and it was really challenging for me at first, but keeping on working through it. And Ben had done like a presentation at UT like around the same time I was had done it, like after that, and I felt like doing more of those boxes after Ben kind of helped us like set up a lab and everything really helped me kind of expand more on learning things inside of Active Directory. So I would say that was like my first challenging box, but now I like really love doing any of the Active Directory machines that are available on Hack the Box.
Nice. I remember, like you must mean also the initial part in order, to understand the get user or Sana, if I remember the box correctly, because I have played myself. But it is a very nice box for AD and anything. By Sean, actually, our account delivery manager. But he's not here today, maybe at another meetup. So yes, okay, and do we have another question?
I think that is the last one. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the last one. Then we're going to take a quick break and return back at 12:15 for Ben's portion of the presentation. So I know, Satira, that you said that you had to leave after the question. So I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today, and we really appreciate it. Because you're the best, so.
No, I'm not. You are guys the best, and thank you for all the work you do to the community. I want to say to everyone that is in the chat that we do have a lot of prizes today. We have swag cards, we have VIP Plus, that, come on, they rock. And while now we are still on beta testing the Battlegrounds, VIP Plus have 20 games and free users have 2 games. So while on our beta phase 2, make sure to make the most out of them. So this is the first thing I want to say. The second thing is that Savannah and Chase, congrats for all the hard work you have been doing. I have been there for you as much as I can. Sorry sometimes if I do not reply at the ASAP, as I should. But thank you for your work. You have been doing amazing. I have seen your progress as hackers and as people. You were always kept it professional. And this is what I want. I believe it is the one thing that we should stay, if anyone is a beginner now, that you have to be patient and you have to keep it professional, and you need to try and try and try. You will never know all of them. You just to take it step by step, day by day, and just like what these guys did, because they started like I remember when we spoke at the first time, you had sold like 2-3 boxes, and now you have sold like so many of them, and you have skyrocketed your career, both of you guys, and this is what makes me happy, actually. And so, as a present, we will give VIP plus 5 of them, and swag cards, because who doesn't love those t-shirts and hoodies and desk mats? And but they're sold out, but they will soon come up to the store. So yes, that's from me. Thank you very much, guys, for everything that you do. Hope you have fun at the rest of the event. Ben, I'm sure you will teach them a lot of stuff. I will be as a watcher and not as a presenter. And we'll chat more in the future. Bye, guys. It was a pleasure. And congratulations. We will do the second one will be a party.
Thank you. Bye, Cynthia.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, so we are going to take a quick break, and I'm going to put the screen up for you, everyone. Okay, and we will be back at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time.
All right, welcome back. We now have a presentation from Ben. This is going to be going over ZeroLogon. It's a pretty widespread vulnerability right now. So, and looks like Ben just left. We'll be back in a second.
Okay, so just give us 2 minutes. Ben just had to switch screens for something, so that's why I had to drop real quick. But he's going to be coming right back on. All right, Ben is back.
You guys hear me? I just switched another machine and I wasn't getting audio.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, do you want me to just start with the first slide? And then, well, you start with it, but I'll like change it for you.
Yeah, sure. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I was just going to give a brief rundown on the recent ZeroLogon vulnerability, which, in my opinion, and I mean, I think many people would agree with this, it's one of the most devastating vulnerabilities that come out in recent years, if not the most, because of the exploitation and how easily you can exploit it, and also if you exploit it wrong, just what can happen. Sorry, are you guys still on? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't see you, so I wasn't sure if we're still there. So essentially, it's an authentication bypass in the NetLogon remote protocol. It can be used for lateral movement and then just direct domain compromise. The crux of the vulnerability, without going too deep into the technical of it, is that you can blank out the machine password on domain controllers, which gives you instant domain admin access. But it also has implications because if you actually reset that password, then the domain controller is in an inconsistent state, and it'll have trouble with authentication in the domain. If you just reboot a domain controller after doing this, it can have problems communicating, and certain services won't start. So that's why when the original POCs came out, I was trying to advise a lot of people, don't use this in a production environment unless you're closely coordinating with a client, or more so make sure you're doing it in a lab environment, because there's a lot of implications. There are things you can do to run the original exploit and immediately reset the domain controller machine password to what it was before, but it's not always reliable, and there are things that it could break. So I was going to show an alternate way of exploiting this attack, this vulnerability, which is more, it's safer because it doesn't actually blank out the domain controller password, and it still achieves you the same effect, but it has a little bit more setup. It's a little more complicated to pull off than running just a single Python script. So the root cause of it is that you're able to basically change the client challenge to 8 zeros, and essentially just bypass authentication from the server challenging the challenge. The original exploit, it tries up to 256 times, and when it's successful, it retrieves the authentication key, and then once you do that, you can authenticate directly to the domain controller using the machine account with a blank password. So you can use some tool like secrets dump directly and dump the NTDS. So that's just a little flow on how the actual attack works there.
Ben, do you want me to unshare my screen so that you can share your demo screen?
Yeah, I'm going to share that here. Okay. So I'm going to show, I have an environment set up where I'm actually blocking the original POC from working, but I wanted to show what happens, on the defensive side, what event codes are firing, what's happening, and this is what some ways it could be detected. So okay, can you see my screen here?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so the original exploit is merely just a Python script, and what it does is it attempts to perform these authentication attempts, and when it's successful, it actually will null out the domain controller machine password. So it runs, it tells you it's successful, but I have something in place that's blocking it. Basically, I'm looking at an event ID, and if that event ID fires, a scheduled task will go and reset the domain controller password. It's not something you would want to do in a production environment but it just works for our demo purposes here. So if the original attack does work, you would next be able to use just something like secrets dump and dump the domain. But you can see here that it failed because the event fired and it reset the password quickly automatically. So this just, if you were in this scenario, you would have to say, okay, well, it looks vulnerable. What is another way I can perform this attack? So if we look, so it'll take a second for the event logs to load. So if we look at there we go. If we look at the system and the security event logs, in the security event logs, it's going to fire off a event ID 4624 and a 4742, which are related to authentication attempts. And then the major one that I'm looking for here is, let me scroll to it. So this 5805 here, which it shows that the machine failed to authenticate. And this means that the password was blanked out, so there was having some troubles here authenticating back. So what we can do is there's an alternative way of exploiting it, which we can combine the printer bug and then NTLM relay, and we can actually relay to the DRS UAPI protocol and get pretty much an instantaneous DC sync. This works because when you actually exploit the vulnerability, you've bypassed the netlogon and the authentication, and you obtain a session key, which can be used to relay the credentials back, basically, and dump the domain. So here you just would basically start up NTLM relay X. So what I'm doing is I'm telling it to relay to this target domain controller, which is vulnerable, and if there is a successful relay, to perform DC sync. And if you are in an environment and you find this vulnerability, you're able to pull it off this way, it's it's still decently hard to detect, but it's also a lot safer because you're not actually blanking out the domain controller password or machine password, which could cause a lot of issues. But to do this, you need another domain controller in the environment, which you can actually target the print that has the spool service listening, and then you can actually trigger the printer bug against and force authentication, and you're going to tell it to authenticate back to your rogue SMB server here. And when it runs, and if it is successful, and when you relay it, it should authenticate, bypass authentication on the vulnerable domain controller and perform DC sync automatically. And one other thing that you need to be able to perform this version of the attack is you would need a set of valid credentials for a domain user. So there's a little bit more setup and more things that have to go right if you're doing this during an assessment, but it's worth doing it, just because it is safer and you're not going to mess things up. And I think I've heard there was a lot of problems with people just running that initial POC during pen tests and not really understanding what it was doing. And you can cause a lot of issues and potentially break AD for a client. So here we're just attempting to trigger the printer bug against a different target machine, and then having it relay back here. And you can see that when that was successful, we actually did bypass authentication using ZeroLogon, authenticated that machine and relayed back, and we're able to dump the dump the administrator password. So from here, you could grab this hash and you could do a pass the hash attack and, grab everything that you need. The good thing here is that you have performed this attack. You've not broken anything, hopefully. And sorry, I lost my streaming. And you're going to be able to basically show the client that, yes, you are vulnerable to this attack, and you haven't broken anything in the domain. And can you go back to the slides really quick?
Hey Ben, did you just cut out just a little bit? Was that the end of the demo?
Yeah, I mean it's a quick attack demo of what happens there. I just wanted to go back to the slides first.
Yeah.
So the mitigation for this is that Microsoft did release a patch in August, which you can apply, and it will mitigate this, but it works by just checking whether the first 5 bytes are randomized, and then I guess they're going to release another patch in February 2021 that's going to be more substantive. Another way that people or defenders can defend against this or check for it in their environment is whatever SIM tool you're using, checking the event IDs and looking for those event code 4624, which documents a successful logon attempt. So you would see an actual logon to the domain controller, and then 4742, which is a computer account was changed, and that's the one that would fire if you do the original POC, which actually blanks out the domain controller machine password. And then event code 505 is if you're trying to authenticate and you actually get an access denied. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about it or wants to see. Sorry, it was a little rushed and last minute putting this together, so I don't have a massive presentation on it, and it's a pretty quick demo.
Okay. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we'll try our best to get them answered here. If anyone has any.
You should be able to see Ben too on your screen. There's like a comments tab on the stream, on the right side. Then you can see all the comments coming in like through YouTube. But I don't think anyone has any questions.
Doesn't look like it.
This is another one of those like really big vulnerabilities. Kind of like there was the Blue Keep one recently. There was Eternal Blue. You know, some of these are usually direct. You know, if you against a domain controller against another host, it gives you a direct admin, but there's a lot of risk involved in them. So if you're out there doing penetration tests and you're running along these things, I would always recommend if you think it's exploitable, maybe just check and try to validate, see if the patch is missing, and then have a discussion with your client and talk about the implications of pulling it off. Because sometimes, at least in my experience, a lot of clients have said, well, I'm good knowing that it's vulnerable. We'll patch it. We don't need to see a POC because it can damage a lot of things. So I would caveat it with that.
So it looks like Wasim has a question. He asked, I think with secret dump, you can see previous passwords that you can just reinsert. Is that correct?
Yeah. So if you're fast enough after you do it, you can reset the machine account password. But I believe there's a certain window of time to do that, and if you don't do that successfully, then it can still break things.
Cool.
All right. Are there any more questions? Post them in the chat.
I don't think that there's any more. Thank you so much, Ben, for presenting. We really appreciate it for everything. You're welcome to stay on. We're going to give out swag. You don't have to stay. Completely up to you.
One other thing, if people want to play with this in a safe environment, if you have a VIP, there's a few retired machines that are domain controllers. Like I think like Mantis or Blackfield are domain controllers, and they're not patched for this. So if you wanted to play with this and try it out, at least the original POC, you can do it against those machines without fear of breaking anything. You can see how it works and just kind of how deadly it is. This environment I set up is a little contrived. I mean, it's realistic. It could all happen in an environment, but we don't have anything current, a lab currently where people can try it out this way.
Cool.
You said those boxes were Mantis and what else?
Blackfield, I know, is vulnerable to it. Pretty much most of the ones that we have that are domain controllers are currently vulnerable to that.
Okay. Gonna check them out.
No, it's worth trying it out. I guess I could post it in the chat. A link to that POC if you want to try it again against those machines. Let me just grab it. Can I actually post in there? I guess I can drop it in the private chat and you guys can post it.
Okay.
There are a few interesting articles. So this blog post I'm posting, if you really want to read about the way that this guy developed this alternative way of abusing it, it's a really interesting read. It's pretty long and he goes really in depth on it, but it's really interesting. And then this last article here, just a quick blog post by this company Laris, and they had some defensive guidance talking about the different event IDs that fire and ways that you might be able to detect this in an environment.
We're gonna add those in Discord too as well for everyone. All right. Okay, so thank you again, Ben. So we are going to announce some of the swag winners that Satira gave us swag to be able to give out on the call. So on the Meetup group online, if you entered in your email, we randomly chose 5 users for 1 month VIP Plus, and then 5 users for 1 month, not 1 month, 5 $50 gift cards. So I'm gonna change the screen real quick. Okay, so for the 1 month VIP Plus, these are the names that we pulled. So Marcella, Austin, Cole, and then Gallo and Rob. So we have the emails, we just didn't want to post them on here. So this was like the first initial of the last name. So we will get those out next week. And then for the $50 Hack the Box store gift cards, these are the names: Annabelle, David, Gerber, Aklakar, I'm not sure how to say that, and then Nicole. So we will be sending those out, and we appreciate everyone entering their emails to be able to win some swag.
Congratulations.
And they just put a bunch of swag on there too, like for the new desk mats, and then I think a lot of the clothes are updated to with the new Hack the Box logo.
Yeah, definitely pick up the desk mat when they come back in stock. I got one. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I believe that's all we have here. Like I said, join the Discord. We have these meetups every month. Not every meetup will have the wonderful panel of people that we had today, but we do go over boxes usually and kind of walk through some stuff. So it's always a fun time. Hope to see you all next month, I guess.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining the meetup today.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
All right. Thank you guys for having us.
Bye.